All right, we are working on the 2007 A8L D3 today. We're doing some work with the anti-lock brakes. So what this thing is doing is it's turning on the ABS light, the traction, and then the parking brake light for some reason goes off and on. I think it's all tied together, but it is setting a left rear wheel speed sensor code. I've already tried a wheel speed sensor just as a best guess. That did not fix it. I checked the wires up to the ABS module, which is up under the hood. I'll show you that in a minute. And the wires check good. The best guess I have at this point is a faulty ABS module. I was reading online that there's actually a company you can send these into and have it fixed. So I found a used one at a junkyard. I'm going to try to throw that in there and see if it fixed it. It was like $30. So I'm going to turn this on. Usually it does it within a few seconds of starting the car up here. And of course it's not on right now, but let's see if it comes on. I'll give it a minute. All right, so this video quickly turned into a how to program the electronic brake traction control module. I went to use VCDS to do the scan. My old laptop that I use for VCDS wouldn't boot up. It took like a half hour, and then VCDS went into a update, which took over an hour or two, and I went ahead and replaced this thing. It wasn't too big a deal. There's the part number on the bottom there, 4E0910517B. And that's critical. You get the same part number for this, and that matches in VCDS. And I'll give you a quick rundown on what I used to replace it. So these are my long T20 Torx. And then I used, hold on. Okay, I found it. So it's this ratchet, which these things are awesome. So you basically you take your 20, there's 6 of these. There's a clip right there that flips up like that. And if it doesn't come, you kind of pull the back part out of it, and then you get that piece out. There is 2 contacts inside the brake booster module that touch there and there. Must be for the pump, I'm assuming. And then you just have to feed all these things over the solenoid valves. It's got these little tabs here, but those don't, it look like they would touch something inside there, but they really don't. So anyway, things are pretty tight. This is a coolant hose that goes to the bottom of the coolant reservoir. You don't have to. I did it anyway. I undid it right there. There's just a spring clamp, and then a little more room. I pulled the coil rail loom out of there and just kind of moved it up out of the way. And yeah, it's tight, but it's a lot easier than pulling the whole brake module hydraulic system out, which you're going to have to bleed everything if you take that out of there. And I chose a little hand space versus a lot more work. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to program this thing here, and I've got a traction control light on right now, but I should be able to code it with VCDS to get it to match up to the car now. All right, so you'll see there is some different options depending on what brakes. If it's a long wheelbase, an S8 such, then you go to your code, RPO code list in your trunk to figure out the different production codes and match it up to VCDS here. The one thing I could not find is there is no transmission code. So what I've read is you go into this, and this 09L is what kind of transmission this car has, which I believe is the Multitronic. It's the Sport, so we've got the paddles and all that. I'm not sure if the paddles have anything to do with that or not, but anyway, we're gonna close that controller now that we know it's an 09L, and I'll show you what the other one is and why that matters. All right, so we go over to this cheat sheet I'm making up here, and as you can see, there's two modules in the anti-lock brakes. And this goes through, there's coating 2, which that's what we are going to do first. And then, so there's kind of a, I'll spread this out here. So we're dealing with a A8 long wheelbase, so that's a 6, and you just fill in whatever digit corresponds with this question mark. So we got a 6. Brakes, I looked on the sheet in the trunk, are a 1LL, so that gives us a 2, so 629. The 9 came from 6 to 8 cylinder gas, and this is off the wiki from VCDS Rostec. And then, so it looks like it's not the Multitronic. So 09L, so we input a 7 as the last digit. So it just goes 0, 6, 2, 9, 7. All right, so here's the first code we're going to be putting in under the first coating 2 section. And then, so there's a second page here that kind of goes through the same options, but anyway, got a mess going on here, but second code is going to be 000597, and that again is because we've got a 7. And then we're going to have to calibrate the steering wheel angle sensor. So I'm going to go through this. I've got the codes written down, and we will go from there. All right, so you want to, of course, do this with the engine off. So I'm going to go into VCDS ABS brakes, and here is the part number that I talked about earlier, 4E0910517B. That's important. You want to do this right the first time or it will lock you out of here. So we're going to go into coating 2. Now here is where we put in that thing, and this is like the list it gives you. I'm going to screenshot this real quick. And this basically just corresponds with that code, which is 06297. So we're going to put that in here, 06297. You can see that going in there, and then we're going to code it. So do it. Coding accepted. That's a good sign. So then we're going to go into coding 07, and here's where we're going to put in the other one, and this gives you a same thing there. So 000757. I'm going to minimize this. And then workshop code, I looked this up on VCDS's website. So basically, VCDS Rostec is just saying it's got to be a 5-digit number greater than 000. They recommended to put 12345, so I'm going to put 12345 in. Click in the box. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the importer number. Rostec said to put in a 444, so that's what we're going to do there. 444, and then equipment number. It didn't say anything about that. We're just going to leave that as 00000, and we're going to click do it. Coding rejected. Let me go back and see what we have. All right, I stopped the video there. As you could see, I was having trouble getting the workshop code in there. I tried zeros. I tried it as 00001. I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And nothing I could do could get it to program. I'm on day 3 now of trying to get it to program. And I think I finally have a solution here. And I'm going to go through the steps I found to get it to finally take. All right, we ran into a couple issues trying to program this here. It would say it would take the coding, but it still wouldn't clear out the codes, and it was coming up with an error still for the G85 steering wheel position sensor not learning, which I read if it doesn't take that, it will delete any coding that you did out. So I'm going to try this again here. I'm going to start the car per VCDS and Rostec. They said it can be done with the car running. which I think it might be a voltage issue. So we're going to start the car and try it again, and I'm going to show you coding in that sequence. All right, so the car is running. We're going to go into ABS module. Sorry, I'm trying to watch the mouse pointer on my phone, and I need to be watching it on the screen, but here we go. So we're going to try this again. So as you can see, soft coding is at 0, 0, zeros. We're going to go into coding 2. So that's when we're going to enter the 06297 per the build, 06297. We're going to click do it. All right, coding has been accepted. From there, we're going to go into coding. You can see it still says zeros all the way across there. So software coding per the sheet. We're going to enter 0007597, 0007597. Close that. Workshop code 12345. Importer number, we're going to leave that at 0, and the equipment number, we're going to leave it at 0 as well. So let's see what that does. Coding accepted. If you notice now, we've got 7597, which matches that. So from there, we're going to go to fault codes. And as I suspected, it's got the 778 and 1044. So you're going to click done, go back. And then from there, we're going to turn the steering wheel. It says 30, but we're going to go, we'll call it 90 to the left, center it as best possible. Then we're going to go to measurement blocks 08. And then group 5. All right, so it shows 2.5, which I'm being told can be considered the default. I'm actually turning the wheel right now, and as you can see, it is not changing that, but I'm going to leave it centered. So specification is 0, but it's got to be within 5.0, which 2.5 is in there. Steering angle just went to an error. Not sure why that is. But anyway, we're going to go done, go back, and then we're going to go into login 11 40168. Control module has accepted the login. And then from there, we're going to go into basic settings 04, group 01, and then click go. And then it says alignment status there now is okay. And then we're going to say done, go back. And then supposedly the fault codes should have cleared out. I'm not understanding why that's back to 0. No fault code found. All right. So I'm going to shut everything off and try this again. All right, car is off. We're going to do another ignition cycle here. Looks like ABS lights are off, brake light is off. So we're going to go back into the ABS module. And whenever you do that, that pops back up, which had me worried a couple times. But anyway, we're going to go into codes. As you can see, no fault code found, which is a good thing. We're going to go back into the measurement blocks. 5. And as you can see, this is changing with input now. So we're at 90 degrees. And there's pretty much dead ahead right there. So 0, we're reading good. And then you'll notice as soon as I turn that off, all the ABS stuff lights go out. So I'm gonna go drive this. This is the first time we've had these off since I've replaced the module and many times the program. And we will see what happens. I'm gonna do an auto scan first, and I won't wait the whole time here, but start that and just clear everything else out and start from scratch. All right, so we got this thing up to operating temperature. I drove it a couple miles, and I'm gonna call this fixed. The ABS light hasn't come back on, which that original code would have been coming on well by now as far as the left rear ABS sensor. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hope that helps somebody out.